I'd like to call the evening of Wednesday, February 22nd, 6 PM school board meeting to order. I apologize for our delay, but we were delayed at our previous meeting and got set up as soon as we possibly can for those of you in attendance. First, I'd like to ask you all to please rise, because we'll have the presentation of our colors. From the FPC ROTC Guard, we have Cadet Major Celeste Brown, Cadet First Lieutenant Wyatt Brown, and Cadet Master Sergeant Zoe Cottrell, under the direction of Lieutenant Colonel Melvin Baskerville. Please rise. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and be seated. Superintendent Middlestat, do we have any proclamations, resolutions, or legislative updates?
Board Chair, do you want to go through roll call to start this meeting?
That would be a very nice thing. My mind's still on the last meeting. Can we start at the very end down there?
Roy Mara Lucy, present.
Christy Chong, present.
Will Furry, present.
Sally Hunt, present.
Cheryl Massaro, present.
Present on the phone.
That was Dr. Conklin. She's present on the phone, and Kathy Middlestat is here. Thank you.
Now we'll go to number 2. Do we have any proclamations, resolutions, or legislative updates?
I have none.
Okay. We're going to move to Spotlight. 301, Superintendent Strategic Plan Spotlight, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, everyone. Tonight, with the Superintendent Strategic Plan Spotlight, I'd like to refer the public back to our workshop today. At the end of that workshop, our team from the district staff brought forward data elements that support our strategic plan 6 goals and all the work that the team has been doing this year. We have a dashboard that has been created by a team member to demonstrate how we've made progress in each one of those 6 goal areas. And we shared it with our board this afternoon. It will be public facing next week for the public to see how we're doing in each one of those different goals that we have defined ourselves to serve under. So what I would like to do, Madam Chair, is kind of do something unique and different tonight. We had 2 amazing, courageous employees do something to call to service that when we wake up any given morning, we probably never would think we would have to do that. But if I could have Assistant Superintendent for Academic Services, LaShaka Moore, please come forward to the podium, please. Accompanied by our District Safety Specialist, Thomas Willahan, please come forward to the podium, please. I know they're going to be mad at me because they did not know I was doing this, but I just think it demonstrates what we're all about here in Flagler Schools, where we rise to the occasion and go above and beyond our work expectations regarding whatever the matter may be in front of us. And for the public awareness, we are presenting them with a certificate of recognition, which reads, "For the outstanding courage, compassion, and community service while coming to the aid of a fellow Flagler Schools employee who had a medical crisis. By rendering CPR to the victim, you helped save the life of another human being, one of our own family Flagler employees." And I just want to extend that appreciation, consideration. And in the moment of a crisis, we never know how we'll respond, and both of you were exemplary in terms of saving the life of another human being. So thank you so much for doing that. That concludes my spotlight. We have 2 other spotlights this evening. The next one is our district spelling bee winner.
He's prepared. Good evening, school board members and Superintendent Middlestat. My name is Celeste Ackerman. I'm a curriculum specialist here in the Teaching and Learning Department. I am here this evening to introduce Spencer Edelstein. He is our spelling bee champion for Flagler County Schools, and this is his 2nd year winning as champion.
Yeah.
He is an 8th grader at Buddy Taylor Middle School. He is so bright. He's taking courses at Daytona State, and he's going to do amazing things in his future. I'm going to go ahead and step back and hand over the mic to him and let him tell you his experience.
Hello, school board. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me back. I'm very excited to be here. I did very well at the district spelling bee this year. I mean, I won, but why I say that is because it's just so amazing to win 2 times in a row for each year, because just winning once is amazing, but when you win it 2 times in a row, it shows that you're really committed. And also, this year was the last year I was able to participate in this particular one because I'm in 8th grade. So it was just awesome. I felt like I really had to win it, and I made it happen. So now I'm moving on to the First Coast Regional Spelling Bee, which will be hosted in Jacksonville on March 31st. And I'm excited to be going to it again. I did it last year, but it was virtual. And what I'm doing to prepare for it is I'm using and studying a 4,000-page spelling bee word list. We also used it in preparation for the district level spelling bee. So now I'm using it in preparation for regionals. And my goal this year is to win. I really want to win because I'm representing Flagler schools, but even more so the whole county. And I feel like I just really want to win, and then I'd go on to nationals. So that's a dream. So I'd be very welcome and happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
What was the winning word?
Oh, yeah. The winning word at the district competition was stamina, and I was pretty familiar with it. I mean, I don't actually remember it being on the list, but I was familiar with it from my knowledge, so that was great. But I did like to mention, or I would like to mention, that it went on for way longer this year, way more rounds. And it felt like a long time on stage because it's really tense, and there's like these rounds and you gotta wait. So it went on for, I think, over an hour and a half. But when I won, it just felt so amazing. And all the words leading up to it were pretty good. I sort of knew all of them. I had to think about a few of them. But in the end, I won. So that's what matters. So, yeah.
Any other questions? How about a photo? I would love a photo. So come on up.
Thank you.
Up here, come on up here. You're front and center. You deserve this. Is Mom here? Yes, Mom's here. Mom, come on up.
Come on up.
It takes a team. Now we're ready. There we go. One more. Wait. You want one? No, over here. We have one more. Come on, back in line. Okay, got one more for the newspaper. Okay. Thank you, and good luck at the next round.
Yes. Awesome. Great job. You're amazing.
Good, you did the others, yeah, might as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next spotlight is for CTE and Education Month. I've got our FTC Director Renee Kirkland here, along with Adam Blair. And we have a couple other guests that I'm going to let them introduce so I don't mistake on their names. So thank you so much for sharing this presentation this evening.
Great. Thank you, Superintendent, Board Chair, Board. February is Career and Technical Education Month, and February is recognized to celebrate the accomplishments and highlight CTE and the achievements of CTE programs across Florida. There are 17 career pathways to choose from to acquire the skills needed through real-world, hands-on experience in a year or less, resulting in high-wage potential. In Florida, there are nearly 800,000 K through 12 CTE students, which is the highest in the state's history, and more than 380 post-secondary CTE students through the pre-K through 20 system, and over 17,000 registered apprentices engaged in workforce education. In 2019, Governor DeSantis set a goal of making Florida the #1 state in the nation for workforce education by the year 2030. Just this year, a record $579 million was invested to support workforce education programs. With this investment, Florida has now invested more than $5 billion in workforce education since 2018-19 school year. By 2030, Florida will be home to 26 million residents with one of the most diverse populations in the United States. Now the third most populous state in the nation and home to the 16th largest economy in the world, Florida needs to create 1.63 million new jobs by 2030. That number includes the types of occupations that are currently in demand and will be in the future, including many jobs that are experiencing significant shortages in skilled workers. As teachers prepare CTE students for their future careers as skilled professionals, students engage in hands-on learning with real-life applications. These approaches to teaching are linked to greater understanding, comprehension, and retention. CTE offers a way for students to gain skills and earn certifications in some of Florida's most critical and desirable industries. Unlike traditional higher education, CTE programs can set individuals on the right path with less time and less cost. That means they get a career today without worrying about debt tomorrow. And I have with me today some of our EMT students, and I have Alan Sims, who is a dual enrollment student, and Erica Mulvillo, who is an adult student with our EMT program, and also our cosmetology facilitator, Ms. Harvey, is here as well. So I'm going to turn over to you.
Okay, so my name is Alan. I'm part of the EMT program at FTC. And one thing I'd like to say about the class is that I love it. One thing that I fell in love with, because I'm in high school as well, and I take the firefighting program, I fell in love with the medical aspect. And I find it really cool that you have this opportunity to be able to diversify your portfolio and be in all these different careers. One thing I want to do when I get older is become an EMT or firefighter. And later down the line, I want to be a flight nurse. And hopefully I can do that. But the instructors are amazing. If you have a goal or if you want to get something, they will help you get there. But you have to be able to be committed to it and be willing to put in the work. If you're willing to do that, they will get you to your point. And yeah, I love the class. The instructors are amazing. And I just fell in love with it. And I'm an intern at the fire departments now, and I've been on the ambulance, and I just fell in love with it even more. It's probably like the coolest thing I've ever done. So yeah, thank you.
Good evening. I am Adrian Harvey. I am the cosmetology facilitator at FTC. I also teach a high school class to help them kind of see if this is possibly the career they would like to do. We are a creative, diverse, fun, educational classrooms. I really feel that cosmetology is one of the greatest fields you could ever be in. I've been doing it 30 years. I've been teaching 15. What we bring is, I am the chair of the State of Florida Cosmetology Board. So I bring all of that in the classroom, and it really helps when I'm talking to the students about their careers, where do you want to go, what you could be, all the different avenues. I love it. When I say I love it, you'll see me. Recently, I was cutting hair for challenged citizens of Flagler County at Church on the Rock. I bring my students to things such as that so they can see the humbleness of what we do, how we make people feel really good. And here is one of my favorite students who is late.
How's it going, guys? Sorry, I ended up going to the wrong building.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sage Ortiz. I'm a student at the FTC Cosmetology program. I am currently in my final semester there. Woo! Let's see, a little bit about myself. Grew up in New York, moved to Florida about 8 years ago, trying to make myself in this little world. And through high school, I actually found Miss Harvey and started the program there. And I wasn't really into it then, but throughout the years of trying to discover what I wanted to do in my life, I realized, no, I kind of really did like that. Throughout the years, I was cutting people's hair, I was styling them, but I was untrained. And I was like, you know what, one day I need to really hone in on this. And then I got back in contact with her, and it really honed in on things that I needed to know to grow not only myself, but also a career. And that was one thing that I was really happy that was there for me. And then throughout the program, I've met so many great people. I've learned how to work on different types of people, different textures, how to communicate with others, and it really, what is the words that I'm looking for? Help me understand who I am and where I want to be. That's it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Adam Blair. I oversee the K-12 portion of CTE. And I'll introduce my esteemed guest as she would like to come forward, Miss Johanna Davis and Bailey. Probably the most exciting person we usually have, or not person, sorry, guest that we have coming in some of our programs. Our programs in CTE in Flagler County have approximately about 8,400 eligible students, meaning they could take a CTE course. We have over 3,000 participants in those courses and 76 unique offerings. Again, I know we're short on time, so I won't go through every single one, and I'll let Ms. Davis highlight her program specifically in just a moment. Some of the other highlights for our students, we have 24 unique certification options. So although we're not necessarily graduating students with a degree in a particular major, such as FTC, we do have the opportunity to have students earn industry credentials to help them get prepared for the workforce right away. Last year, we had nearly 2,000 of those exams that were passed by our students here in Flagler County. Our students participate in competitions through their career and technical student organizations at the state level, at the national level, and soon to be international level later this month with our entrepreneurship program. And of course, FFA is consistently in the rankings for state competitions and attending leadership conferences. We have school-based enterprises through Matanzas High School, and we also have opportunities for students in work-based learning. So it is a great opportunity for students to find out skill sets that they need to become successful, but also, in some instances, some things that they don't want to do later on in life. Maybe they start out in the medical field and realize that they don't like blood, much like the person standing in front of you. I wanted to be a doctor when I was much younger and hated the sight of needles. So it was good for me to get that experience and decide that that wasn't my forte. But I will be quiet and I will let you hear from our esteemed vet assisting instructor. Oh, yes, I will pass this out. Ms. Johanna Davis.
Hi, I know most of you. I've been here 30 years. The ag program at the high school at FPC has gone through a lot of changes. We started out with agri-technology, we went into animal science, and then we went into the vet program. And I'm gonna wait to talk about the vet program because that's my baby. If y'all have not heard, I'm supposed to retire in June, but I have submitted my paperwork to extend another year. And so that'll be in Tallahassee sometime today or tomorrow. So y'all are stuck with me another year. When I told the kids, I told all my kids this week or last week, and I said, some of you are groaning and some of you are cheering, and that's just the way it is. We are adding a second program and a second teacher, and that is why I'm really excited about staying. It is in the flyers that you're getting, there's one for the vet program and one for the ag technology or the technical name is Technical Agriculture Operations. We know it as agriculture mechanics. So it's providing opportunities for those kids that like to work with their hands a little bit more, so it'll include electrical, it'll include basic construction, basic welding, basic plumbing and irrigation. And they can start that after they've had the introductory class foundations. There's also an industry certification after they've had 3, and it's numbered weird. It's Agri-Science Foundations is a required course. And then it's Ag Technology 2 and Ag Technology 3, just because those are the 3 courses. So the flyer that we've included, and we've been promoting it, and both programs are now part of school choice, so and I've already talked to Spencer. FFA has a lot of opportunities for leadership development, for public speaking, and we have like 60 different contests that students, agri-science fairs, that they could take to the national level, and we have had students compete at the national level. With the veterinary assisting, that's kind of my baby. Bailey didn't have a choice on whether she came today, but she is a TA. She has her own ID. We had tours today too, so that's part of the reason she's with me. So she's a little tired. 5:30 came pretty early this morning. But the Certified Veterinary Assisting program that's offered through that is probably one of the most real high school certification programs we offer, because it is recognized and administered by the Florida Veterinary Medical Association. And any adult can take the same course, get the same certification, but they have to work at a vet office and the vet has to sponsor them. where our students are able to do it through classwork and through volunteer work in vet hospitals, and we have a couple of vets that will come in and work with our kids on campus. So there are specific skills, there's 75 skills, and about half of those skills, they have to have signed off by a licensed vet or certified veterinary technician in order to even sit for the test. So I'm probably gonna jinx myself, but we have a 100% pass rate over the last 10 years on that test. So I'm really proud of that. If you have not toured our new facility, we bathe dogs outside for years, and so if it was gonna be 50 degrees, I'd have to call, because we do school board employee, faculty and staff, we don't do public, we don't do the kids' animals. I would have to call them and say, it's going to be 50 on Thursday, we're going to bathe your dog outside, do you really want to do that? So in 2019, we started pushing for upgrades, and through the Ed Foundation and through the money that we've earned from CAPE funding, and then Mr. Russell and Mr. Tant and everybody kind of got on board with it, and we call it the little project that turned into a big project. When you stand in my classroom and you look to the back, it looks like a miniature vet clinic. We have a full-scale bathing room with kennels and stainless steel bathtub scales. We have mock exam rooms, and so the kids get kind of the real-world feel. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
I would just like to take this opportunity to thank all of the CTE programs that we have, and Ms. Stauffer, who does a great job, and Adam, because they put a lot of time into something that years ago we really didn't have. And so it's so nice to have it and to develop it and to keep going. Okay, we're going to move along now. Approval of minutes. Are there any changes or adoptions that anyone see for the minutes? Hearing none, we'll consider those as being approved. Is there, Superintendent, any additions or changes to the agenda?
I have none.
Okay, we'll move along 5.01. We're up to public comment. This is public comment on agenda items, and it is now open. Do we have any public comment?
The public comment that has come before you thus far, I just need to make sure on one last that was just that came forward. None of those items are specifically for board approval at this particular meeting, and so they will be reserved for the end.
All right, so the public comment that's registered will be held at the end of this meeting. We have a question.
Which?
The social studies?
Oh, okay, yes.
Then you,
Ms. Rambo,
please,
you may
Ms.
come
Rambo,
forward.
take
Sorry.
the mic.
Hello, everybody. Shannon Rambo. I wanted to speak about lots of things, but we'll go with the curriculum. That's a good place to start. There's 17 different curriculums to look at, folks. I don't know if anybody took a look at it, but not a lot of good ones there to pick from. Some of them were very bad. They're trying to change history, and that's the stuff that is not appropriate. There's no reason to be changing things. So I hope that anybody who is doing the curriculum will actually look into it, do your research, find out what's in there. We only saw like 2 on that whole list that would even be recommendable. So I hope you go through the process. I believe it was 17, and then it's going to be down to 5, and then I think that's right. I think that's how it goes. So anyway, I just hope more parents, if you're watching and you're listening, please look at the curriculum and find out what your kids are learning. That's all I ask. I'm just here to ask questions, and I hope parents do more of that also. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
No, and we have public comment specifically reserved for
For that.
social studies, so that's why I
know.
didn't call
Okay.
it forward.
We got it. She's early. So 602 was social studies instructional material public comment, which you just did. Is there anybody else that has comment in regards to the social studies instructional material? What that is that these materials are available for you to check and to look at, which with Ms. Rambo just announced that she's done it, which is wonderful. More parents should do that and make sure that we have that checked. But there is a process, and no adoption of any materials will be made until the approved documents comes from Tallahassee. Once FDOE comes, then we'll be approving our documents, our books. Okay? Number 7, resources and supports and consent. I don't know if Ms. Womack is here. Yep, she's there. Does anybody have any questions on number 7, 701? For the finances, please understand that we have workshopped these in detail, and if you have any questions, you can return to watch the video from the workshop 2 weeks ago. All right, we're going to go right on to that. Also, consent for technology. We don't have any academic services. Anybody else, any comments on that? And also, number 10, operational services. Number 11, human resources. Number 12, 13, school board attorney consent. And that's it. Anybody have any questions on any of those items? I need a motion
Motion to approve?
and a second.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to approve all consent items from Ms. Chong, and we have a second from Mr. Furry. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? The motion carries unanimously. We're on to 14, request board approval for award and accompanying contract for request of proposals for the 2303P internal auditing services. There, Chris is over there. There you go. Do we have any questions? We did discuss this. Would you review that, please?
Sure. So tonight is we reviewed the RFP for internal auditing services for the district's 14 internal accounts and the 2 direct support organizations, which is the auditorium and the Ed Foundation. The top-ranked firm, which is James Moore and Company, will cover the first 3 years and then have an option for 2 additional 1-year renewals following that.
Any questions? I'll need a motion if we don't.
Motion to approve.
A second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Furry and a second by Ms. Chong to approve the request for the proposal for the internal auditing service. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, technology and innovation. Request board approval for purchase of the Star Lab inflatable portable planetarium. Presenters, Ms. Alves and Ms. Phillips. A quick review, please.
We're here to request the approval of the purchase of the Star Lab inflatable portable planetarium. This is a digital Star Lab immersive experience. It's a learning tool that'll engage our students in a wide range of standards-aligned content, including science, geography, and astronomy. We'll be able to use this planetarium for all of our schools and all grade levels K through 12 for years to come.
In the past, we were able to borrow a Star Dome for 2 weeks at a time, where we allowed all of our 5th grade students to go through and really be immersed in the science. And the digital planetarium will offer more standards-aligned content for more grade levels, more content areas for all of our students.
And then in addition to the content that comes with the Star Lab, it can also be used to take the students anywhere in the world through Google Earth, as well as viewing any of the 360 video content, such as the life cycle of a sea turtle, or we can actually take our fire science students into a burning building virtually through the Star Lab.
All right, first I need a motion. If I don't have a motion, we can't have a discussion.
So a motion to discuss.
I don't. You can do a motion to pass and not.
So, let me clarify. I need a motion. The person who moves it in, they are required to vote in favor of it. The person who seconds a motion, they can second it for purposes of discussion. But if you are moving that item in, it means you are going to be voting in favor of it. Does that clarify it for everyone? So, at this time, do we have a motion to approve the STAR Lab.
Just full disclosure to everyone, go ahead, Dr. Conklin.
Dr. Conklin cannot, even though Dr. Conklin is on the phone and school board members are permitted to attend board meetings and to vote on items, they're not permitted to be the person who is moving or seconding an item into action.
What happens if we don't get a motion?
If you do not have a motion, it can either be tabled to another meeting, or it will die for lack of a motion, and it will not be approved by this board at this time. It could come back at a later meeting, however, for purposes of today's meeting, it would not be approved.
I would prefer to table it only because, full disclosure, I have not had the opportunity to ask some follow-up questions to Patty. Just as far as budget goes, I love it, right? But again, I would love so many tools and whatnot that would enhance the educational experience here. So, it really, for me, just comes down to, is it in the budget? Right, those types of things. So that is my only hesitation at this point, and why I would prefer to not be the person to call or to
Well, you can make
call
a
the motion.
motion to table it.
Then to keep this party going, I will make a motion to table it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. It's just a lot of money. I think we need some time to think about
Yeah, the amount of this
Okay,
is
whoa,
concerning.
whoa.
so.
Point of information, when you move to table, there is no discussion on
discussion.
a
Okay.
table. It's just, there's a motion, there's a second, I need a vote.
Okay, so we have a motion on the, to table number 15.01, the approval purchase of the Star Lab, for further discussion. It is by Ms. Hunt, and we have a second by Ms. Chong. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, so it will be placed back on at the pleasure of the board for the working agenda workshop in March for reconsideration again. Board members, if you have specific questions that you need staff to answer, if you could either let Ms. Middlestat know or contact Ms. Alvarez, or like you were indicating, Ms. Hunt, you had some budgetary questions, so please see the appropriate staff.
Okay. All right, we're moving along, 15.02, Citizens Oversight Committee. We have Mr. Deasing and Ms. Warmack.
In the absence of Mr. Deasing, Ms. Phillips is here. Thank you.
That's fine. A quick review, please.
Yes, as we've discussed and reviewed in several of the previous workshops, we would like to create a Flagler School's half-cent Citizens Oversight Committee. This was made to the community during our half-cent sales tax renewal. The purpose of the committee would be to review the appropriateness and report on the projects and expenditures associated with the half-cent sales tax. They would meet biannually and would come back to the board every September to report on the activities for the past fiscal year. With your approval, we would like to go ahead and begin the implementation of this committee by putting out the application process for members, where they'll be in, and then we'll bring you a slate of approved members in the coming meetings.
Okay, I'm going to need a motion,
I'll motion.
and I need a second.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Hunt and a second by Mr. Furry, and that is to approve the Citizens Oversight Committee. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Seeing none, it passes unanimously. All right, we're moving on to academic services. We have 16.01. It's a request for board approval of early college agreement. Ms. Bosserdet.
Good evening. As shared at the previous workshop, the early college agreement is it used to be part of the articulation agreement, and it is now a separate agreement that will be renewed annually. This agreement went before the DSC board in January and will come to you around this time each year annually. So do you have any questions?
Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Okay, and I need a second.
A second.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Chung and a second by Ms. Hunt to approve the early college agreement, and I believe that was with Daytona State College, correct?
That is correct.
That is correct. All those, any further conversation? All those in favor say aye.
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 That, again, is approved unanimously. All
Do
right.
you want me to continue forward with the calendar?
Yeah, you might, yes. Well, we've got Ms. Moore is joining you. We're going on to the instructional calendar. Go right ahead.
Before you see the proposed calendar for the 23-24 school year, this calendar was developed with a 10-person team that included 2 members from FCEA, 2 members from FESPA, 2 parents, and 4 district personnel. Do you have any questions at this time?
All right, I need a motion
I'll motion.
and a second.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Ms. Hunt and a second by Mr. Fury. Now, conversation. Any questions?
Madam Chair, I'll just bring up again, for the public, for anybody who has not yet been a part of this conversation, I have engaged in lots of conversation around this to see if there's a different way that could accommodate every single, family. And I tell you what, this team, I just think does such an incredible job of thoughtfulness and really considering every which way. And I'm confident that this is really our best calendar to get in all of our educational. I don't know if you want to speak to that just for a second. Again, this is a really important thing for our families. So if you just could maybe take a second to talk about some of the considerations.
Absolutely. So what our team considered were some of the priority areas of what we have determined with input from community members, input from students and parents over the course of several years about what was important to them. Some of the continuous pieces that are very important to all of our stakeholders have been that we end the first semester prior to winter break so that we align with students who are going to dual enrollment and students who transfer in and out, and that there was still a week preserved at Thanksgiving time to be off. Some other pieces that we strive for is to ensure that the student school year ends prior to Memorial Day. We also want to take into consideration building in ample time should we have a extraordinary event that causes schools to be closed temporarily, such as a hurricane or tropical storms or any other reason that might happen. So we focus on making sure that we have enough days in both semesters so that should a natural disaster of sorts occur, we have time built in to mitigate the time that has to be made up.
Are there any conversation here? That's it? All right, seeing none, then we have a motion on the floor by Ms. Chung, and I believe a second by Ms. Hunt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it passes unanimously. Thank you. Going on to 1801. This is our human resource section, Mr. Ouellette. We have some job descriptions.
Sorry about that. Also had a revision that involved the addition of the basic skills test in lieu of high school credentials.
All right, I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
A second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to accept the 5 job descriptions. Is there any other discussion? The motion, I'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? It passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, that was approval of 1801, 02, 03, 04, 05,
And
and
zeros.
06
Correct.
in one package.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going on. We're staying on human resources. This is 1807, approval of the updated FCEA contract. Ms. Moore, Ms. Patty Warmack, and Ms. Diaz.
Good evening, Board. LaShaka Moore, Ms. Liz Diaz, who is the president of our instructional support union, our instructional union, and Ms. Patty Warmick. Before you is the revisions or updates to our instructional contract for the 22-25 school year. Outlined are the many changes that have been made to our contract in order to address different topics, ensuring that the instructional environment for our staff is at the highest quality possible. Just give Ms. Diaz an opportunity to share any items that she would like to highlight.
Good evening, Superintendent Middlestat, Board Chair, and Board. I just want to first start off by truly exemplifying the amount of collaboration that has gone into this contract. This process started in April of last year, and we have continued to work tirelessly to build the best contract for our instructional staff. When I brag to other union leaders about how collaborative this relationship is, I get a little bit of that pushback of, well, that's not how it works. The union is the enemy, but that's not true. The union is the teachers that are for Flagler County and wanting the best for our students. And I truly believe that we have put the best product forward, and I have the most respect for the team that we have on both sides. So I truly thank all of you for that.
All right, hearing that, I need a motion.
A motion.
Okay, Ms. Hunt, and I need a second.
I'll second.
Fury. Now it's open for discussion. Any comments or discussions? I would just like to make a comment that this team has worked diligently to accomplish a great task, because it's not easy negotiating these details. And they worked well together, and that itself is a huge compliment. All right, we have a motion on the floor, and that is to approve the FCEA contract, which is our teacher's contract. And it was made by Ms. Hunt and seconded by Mr. Fury. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to number 20, School Board Attorney Action. Ms. Gavin.
Thank you, Chair Massaro. Board, you have before you the draft of the revision to School Board Policy 526, the administration of medication, wherein it would include the proposal for Narcan to be stored and also administered by staff and nurses that are approved and received the appropriate training in accordance with the policies that have been drafted and set forth. This is only for advertisement at this time. It will sit for the minimum of 30 days before it will come back to you again as a working agenda item and then for final approval. So this is just permission to advertise in our paper.
I need a motion
Motion to approve.
and a second.
Second.
All right, we can now open that for discussion. Seeing no discussion, I will go ahead with the vote to approve for advertising Narcan policy. All those in favor say yeah, aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? All right, seeing no opposition, it passes unanimously. A motion by Mr. Fury and a second by Ms. Chung. All right, old business. Is there any old business?
I have something.
Ms. Hunt?
And Madam Chair, again, please correct me if I'm not placing this in the right place. For those who may not be aware, we have a superintendent contract which is up for renewal. And I'm going to ask the chair, possibly Attorney Gavin. I see under Section 6, Social Studies Instruction Materials, public comment. Is it possible for the March meeting to have that same line item, but for discussion of the superintendent contract? I would really, I know I would appreciate giving the public ample opportunity, our parents and guardians, community members, giving them the opportunity. I know that that afternoon, we're going to have it on the information agenda. I just was hoping to make kind of an official notice to the public to know, so that they know they can come in and share any feedback for our consideration.
So the reason why the social studies public comment is separate is because we are mandated to actually, per statute, have it set forth as a separate public comment item because it is a separate hearing matter that you will be having to take action on. Superintendent's contract is just a regular general agenda item that comes forward to the board, so it does not require special notice. You will also find that that will happen again when we talk about trim and the budget. That will be also listed as a separate agenda item for public comment.
Okay, so just for matter of clarification, should someone want to share their feedback on that, they would want to attend any of the meetings between now and the vote, and they would share that at the end of the meeting under a non-agenda item.
Yes and no. I'm going to say yes and no. So if they were to attend our 3 o'clock working agenda workshop or our information workshop, we have set both of those meetings as meetings where public comment is welcome both at the beginning and the end. It does not have to be specifically for an agenda item that you all are workshopping. However, when it comes to the 6 p.m. meeting, you all have been very specific in stating that you wanted that to be beginning public comment to be on items that you are voting on during the business meeting, and that any public comment that is not related to something being voted on be relegated to the end. So at the 1 o'clock and 3 p.m. working agenda workshop meeting and 3 p.m. 1 p.m. information workshop rather, those are for both beginning of the meeting public comment and end of the meeting public comment on any matter whatsoever.
Awesome. And then again, just for the public, the details, the times, the dates of those meetings are on the school website. So
Board docs.
I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, any new business? Seeing none, we're now back to public comment. And this can be on any item. Any item, public comment. Do we have? Hold it.
I have to call people up.
We have to call you up one by one.
Hold on. Give me a moment.
We have more than one.
All right, so the first person is Lauren Ramirez on school times.
All right, hello everybody. So I am Lauren Ramirez, mother of 4 children in Flagler County, and I wasn't able to watch the workshop, but I heard it had time or talk about the school time for schools. So I just wanted to just kind of share some information. So whenever that time comes for voting or consideration, some information about it. So in 2018, I read a book called Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker. It's not a normal book I would normally read, but my husband's like, this is right up your alley. It will explain a lot, so go ahead and read it. And it literally has changed my life since 2018. I think about it all the time, and I share a lot of it with my kids. And I just wanted to let you know that when you're thinking about changing time for our children, sleep is the greatest legal performance enhancement drug, all right? If you have less than 6 hours of sleep, so then one's time to physical exhaustion, it drops up to 30%. So for example, think of one boxing in a boxing match. You will be exhausted by level 7 instead of 10, okay? Sleep impacts health, wellness, safety, and education of our children. There were several studies, and they're right from this book, Dr. Matthew Walker. Think of the time change. There was a high school. They changed the time from 7:35 a.m. to 8:55 a.m. So not much of a difference. However, in that 1 year time frame of major research, the car crashes for these high school students decreased by 70% in that 1 year. So 70% is a huge amount for just a little bit extra more time for sleep for these children. In Minnesota, there was another research done. The time changed from 7:25 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. So again, not a huge difference, but enough for a little bit more sleep. SAT scores were affected. So it was 1288 for SAT scores, and then it bumped up to 1500, all right? And this is research that was done on sleep. And for adults, so I know we're talking about children right now, but adults, 45 years old, if you have less than 6 hours of sleep at night, you are already 200% more likely to have a heart attack or a stroke. And that's because the increase of calcification in our arteries. So there's a lot of studies and data. Men, boys, sleeping 5 to 6 hours a night, they have a testosterone level of someone that's 10 years older than them. So you're essentially aging yourself 10 years inside. And less injuries, documented. And I just wanted to share that. I'm not really quite sure when the time will come to discuss it. I know the times have to go around a lot with our buses. I know it's a huge challenge, but to consider our children for our future, and every bit of sleep matters, especially for us as adults, but for children, they are our future. So thank you for listening. I appreciate your time and everything you do for us. Thank you.
Next speaker is Kathy Barnett regarding several items.
Hello, everyone. How are you? My name is Kathy Barnett, and I did not write my thing out, so I'm going to be a little messy. I wanted to talk about the bullying, the fights, the social media of sharing all the fights, going back and forth, even the email, the school email accounts that the kids are assigned. They send harassing things back and forth. I don't have an answer for that, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of fights going on, and it's not just happening in our county. I know it's happening all over. There's a lot of stuff since COVID happened. There's a lot of stuff going on. I just think that we need to do something and think outside of the box or try something different. I don't think our schools have adequate parameters on being able to discipline or kick a kid off a bus. If he continues to fight, they get kicked off for 3 days. I mean, it's a privilege to ride the bus. It's a privilege to go to school. And our kids are suffering. They're scared. They're being attacked walking into school, on the buses, when they get off the bus. I mean, it's just overwhelming. So I wanted to talk about that, first of all. And second of all, I wanted to say that, we're coming up on Parkland, I think it's 5 years now. And that kid, it was a minor that went in there. And look at all the adults, including his parents, his grandmother, all the guidance counselors. I mean, there were so many red flags. And we know that the kids that are suffering, we need to help them. We need to do something. And I'm not saying that I have any answers. I'm just saying that we need to think about all that. I also wanted to talk about This is really, I wanted to say that I really appreciate Ms. Moore and everything that we are doing about the book reviews, but I have attended several book reviews, and it's not warm and welcoming when you go in there, even though we can't speak, but it's very intimidating for a parent to go in there and listen, and the process is very long and drawn out. And I just don't understand that, I mean, I understand that you guys have to follow some kind of rules, but I mean, the teachers and the people that are the reviews that I'm going to, they're saying, well, I wouldn't let my child read that book alone, but then they go and vote to put the book back on the shelf. So I'm kind of confused with the process, and I wanted to be part of the district committee, but I'm a parent. I don't want to be subject to sunshine law rules and all that other stuff. So it seems like it's making it more difficult to just an everyday parent.
All right, I've got to thank you for
Yes,
that.
thank you.
The next speaker is Mike Cochiola, and he is speaking about superintendent contract and book banning.
Thank you. I do get out in the community a lot, and I talk to a lot of people, and we're concerned that perhaps Superintendent Middlestad has not been given the credit for the fantastic job she's been doing. And we stand behind her. A lot of people do, and I wanted to make that point here. And I'm hoping that this board recognizes that and not only gives Superintendent Middlestad a vote of confidence, but a contract that lets her know the value she brings to this community as we try to get this school system among the best in the nation, which should be a goal. Second thing is the issue of book banning. There are groups, there's certainly a group in this town that is a pervasive and insidious effort to censor education. And that's what you do when you ban books, you censor education. And they are a minority in this community, but they are attempting to make decisions or attempting to force decisions on books that cover the entire community. And that's what you do when you ban a book. You make a decision for everybody in the community, not just your children. And what I'm urging is this board to stand firm. If you start burning books, and that's what we're talking about, when you ban them, you burn them. And this committee, this board, has to stand firm for education. Our kids are going to have a tough enough time out there in the world, the real world, competing against everybody. They have to compete for jobs, for places in colleges and universities. And only if they get a good education are they going to compete on an even level with a lot of smart people out there in the world. And if you start censoring their books, if you start banning their books, then they are not going to get the kind of education, not only in school, but in life that they're going to need to succeed. You have to put a stop to something there. I understand that books may not be good for certain age groups, but when you start having 3 people start writing complaints about, up to now, I don't know how many books it was 22, it could be whatever it is now, and obviously they're going to force the decisions from the school committees to the district committee, to the superintendent, and maybe to this board. They're not going to quit until they enforce their beliefs, their personal values on everybody. I think, and it's not a conspiracy theory, I do think that the ultimate goal of all of this is to dumb down or to certainly make public schools less valuable and push more students over to private schools. So we have got to stop that. We have got to stand firm here for public schools, public education, and make sure these kids get to read the books that they should be reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Shannon Rambo on fighting in schools.
Hello, Shannon Rambo, Chapter Chair for Moms for Liberty. I love that I'm following up with that question or comment. Nobody is banning anybody's books, okay? Nobody is banning books. We are talking about sexually explicit. You think they need to know about anal sex and everything? I'm sorry. Some of the books I brought to attention needed to be looked at. There is nothing wrong with asking questions. We should tell our parents that, our children that. All it is asking questions. And as a parent, as a citizen of Flagler County, it can be any of us that live in Flagler County, can challenge something they want to challenge. It's asking a question, hey, let's look at this material. Is it right or is it not? There is nothing wrong with that. Nobody is banning anything. You can go get the books anywhere you want. I get really, really tired of that because that is not the goal at all. Dumbing down America, that's already been done, sir. That's why we're in the spot we're in. This stuff doesn't need to be there. How about back to basics, regular academics, math, reading, arithmetic? Okay. Let's talk about the incident right before I came here. I'm sure you guys, and God bless you guys, because you have been here for a long day, but the news ain't good, okay? They were talking about the teacher that was assaulted. And it was very hard to watch, the whole thing. The student was 6'7", 257 pounds that attacked this woman. He attacked her, he knocked her down, and when she is down, he got on top of her and started punching her face, kicking her in the stomach, kicking her in the head. It was hard to listen to. Questions are, why did it take so long? How was he able to do this much? Why is he with all the other kids? I find it very hard to believe this was the first incident. We've asked many times for statistics on incidents. I think parents should be able to know this. I think we should go on, be able to log in and say, okay, Matanzas has so many fights or whatever, and same with all the schools. I just think that parents should be able to know what is going on in their schools. I just find it really terrifying, and they're like, well, maybe he might be expelled. Expelled? I really hope he's way more than expelled. That is a large. I feel very terrible for that teacher. We need to do something. We really do. We need to quit the fighting. Nobody's banning books. So if we could all work together on something so minuscule, maybe we could work on this other stuff. And in the video of this incident, there it is, rainbow flag. Haven't we been through all this? We're not pushing this stuff. It's confusing our kids. Let's please get back to basics. Let's figure out what is going on and work on the discipline and talking. Let's work through this, okay? Seriously, we still want to do this all together. We are trying to work together. And parents, please, if you're listening, ask questions. Email your principals, the teachers, the school board. They all will answer you. Email them questions. I get them all the time about the fighting on the buses, all the stuff. And the teachers, their hands are tied. So I want more answers, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more?
Yes, we also have Claudette O'Dowd regarding help for kids and staff.
Hello, thanks for listening. I wanted to address the lack of help with the staff and the lack of teaching coping skills for these children. I really think that the bullying stems from maybe troubles at home and not knowing how to cope with it. And teachers want to have the proper direction on how to help these children. So the kid today, the incident that happened today, he had a para, so he needed extra help. Now, if a child is on the spectrum, sometimes they have triggers. And it could be that she took something away from him and she didn't say, I'm taking this away from you. Had she said that, maybe he would have said, I'm gonna kick your you know what, and she could have got reinforcements and removed him. So that would have prevented her being assaulted like that. So I really think that we need more training for the staff. My children are high functioning, and they had a horrible time in public school because the school didn't want to recognize them as being autistic because they're high functioning. And my children are in private school today, and they're thriving. They're doing so much better. And I'm just so happy for them because they're very intelligent. And the school psychologist actually in public school said to me, they don't appear to be autistic, they're verbal, they talk. And that was very concerning to me because not all autistic people are nonverbal. So that just shows me that there's a lack of training and understanding children on the spectrum. And if we understand them more, we could prevent these horrific things happening. And I feel so bad for that para who went through that. But it could have been prevented. So if we could teach children coping skills so they don't have these outbursts, especially, that would be great. So these kids could get a better education and other kids won't be so threatened by these bullies. And I just really think we need to take more seriousness on these situations. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Okay. Next, we have closing comments. We're going to start all the way down the end and hear about FPC.
Okay, so I wanted to start off again by saying, or highlighting some of the few things that FPC students are doing within athletics and activities. A lot of our activities on campus are moving towards state competition. So we've had several clubs qualify for states, and I know SGA just attended their states last week. They did very well. Also, I just wanted to touch on, I know previous in the meeting we talked about the CTE and Flagler schools and my experience as a student in some of those programs. Like in middle school, I was involved in the digital informational technology program, which I got 3 certifications from, which have helped me in terms of like my work experience for jobs. I've been able to put that on my resumes, and also college experiences. And then also when I got to high school, I was able to join the medical flagship. And I know at FPC alone, we have a lot of different flagships, such as the Fire Academy, the Medical Academy, the Veterinary Assistant FFA. And they've all been so great, helpful, and opened a lot of opportunities. So I just want to say I'm grateful for that. And then also I wanted to encourage all students to participate in our Teen Town Hall. I know our last one I wasn't able to attend, but I heard that it went well, and I hope to see you guys at the next one. Yes.
Ms. Chong.
I first would just like to say to the staff member at Matanzas, you're in our thoughts and prayers, and we hope you will be well soon and be back with us. We're definitely thinking about you in this incident, and we've already had conversations on what we will be doing next. About the book controversy, I am also very tired of hearing about it, and it should be dealt with at this point, and ultimately it will come down to us. This is not difficult, okay? There are parents and people who do not want pornography in schools, and then there are those that do. That's all that this is. We, as a board, ultimately, it's going to come down to us. We have state statutes that we have to abide by. We are sworn to uphold the law. That is our job, okay? Section 847.012, we cannot distribute pornography to minors on school campus. That includes accounts of sexual excitement, sexual conduct, and that is harmful to minors. It is a felony of the 3rd degree, punishable. Our tax dollars should not be providing pornography in schools. It's ridiculous, and I hope together that we can come together and do the right thing in the end. I encourage parents to keep challenging these books. Principals, media specialists, you can also remove these books, and as a board, I know eventually we will do the right thing. So, thank you.
Mr. Fury.
Yes, so I also want to send out my thoughts and prayers to the staff member that was violently injured, and we just have to make some change here. This type of violence cannot go on in our school, and kids should feel safe. Parents should feel confident that when they send their children to school that they are going to be safe. Our teaching staff should feel safe to come to work. It shouldn't even be a thought. So for those who weren't present in the workshop today, we did, as a board, unanimously agree to elevate this conversation from a policy level, and we'll be looking at ways to deal with this problem. But please know it's a high priority for all of us. And I echo the other comments of Ms. Chong. Thank you.
Ms. Hunt.
I too would like to echo, it's pretty unbelievable what we heard about out of Matanzas. Again, of course, my thoughts with our staff member, and it is forgive me, I was not fully aware of the news before entering the workshop, so, but from what I have roughly heard, I'm the same as my fellow board members. I'm so glad Christy, under, I believe, new business, brought up the need for us to, as a board, make decisions at our level that can help with this. I don't know who mentioned, but it has been a long day, and I don't know that any of us have had dinner, so forgive me, I'm a little weak at this point. Will, you stole my thunder a little bit in talking about what you said, so oh, I know what I was going to say. I am getting the feeling that we as a board, through this discussion today, we're really committed to prioritizing better, focusing on the things that we need to focus on, because there's a lot in running a public education district. And so one of the things, just again, for those who maybe didn't tune into the workshop, there has been the topic, for instance, of the Belle Terre Swim and Racquet Club that just continues to come up. And again, I talk a lot about opportunity cost. When we spend an hour on the Belle Terre Swim and Racquet Club, that's an hour that we're not spending on some of these other things. And so, again, if you did not attend the workshop, we have as a board committed to having a separate workshop specifically devoted to the Belle Terre Swim and Racquet Club, and with a commitment to kind of once and for all make a decision so that that does not continue to be a conversation. I think it's almost like a year after year kind of thing. So anyway, I'm feeling very optimistic that this board, whether it's books, whether it's behavior and the safety of our students, I feel like we can have some really great conversations in the coming months. So thank you.
Ms. Conklin, do you have any closing comments?
Just that I apologize that I wasn't there live and in person today. A very, long afternoon with the workshop and the meeting, but certainly it's much more interesting when we're all together at the table. But the conversation was great. The presentations were helpful, and I'm looking forward to continuing some of those. I was completely taken back seeing the news report on what took place on campus, and look forward to having a conversation about alternative programming and our alternative possible school to get a handle on some of the behaviors that we're beginning to see in our schools. And with that, I'll end there and let Superintendent Middlestat that I know that I appreciated the presentation on the strategic plan and the dashboard from this afternoon's workshop. I would urge and encourage the community to spend some time watching the end of that board meeting or the whole workshop, but really to kind of see the use of metrics in our tracking of our strategic plan. And with that, Madam Chair, I'll end my comments. Thank you.
Okay, before my closing comment, we had a last-minute public comment that was signing in as we were closing. So I'm going to afford them the opportunity to speak to the group.
All right, so the next speaker is Sue Urban, and she's speaking regarding public comment. Ms. Urban?
I do appreciate everyone taking the time to listen to me. Chair, thank you very much. For those that don't know me, I am Sue Urban. I am a mental health and suicide prevention advocate here in this community. I see a lot of new faces up here on the board. Some of you in the community do know me. I lost my son, Nicholas Urban, to suicide on September 11th, 2018. He was a graduate of Matanzas High School. I have a stepson that is in the behavioral unit at Matanzas High School. I have been fielding calls all afternoon. The student that was involved in this incident today has been his protector for the last 2 years. I'm very emotional because I do not condone violence, and I am a strong supporter of law enforcement in this community. I am a strong advocate for mental health. The student that was involved in this situation has been receiving death threats all afternoon, being told that he should die for his actions. And my heart goes out to the paraprofessional teacher that was attacked today. That child, and yes, everyone thinks of him as an adult because of his size. He's a child. Did not understand what he did. He does not understand the consequences of what he is about to face. He is currently in custody of the Department of Juvenile Justice. He does not have anyone to stand up for him tomorrow at his first appearance. I would ask this board, please, someone go stand up for him tomorrow. Because he is in a behavioral wing at the high school that is supposed to be there to protect him and provide him with guidance. They are allowed certain comforts that when they reach a point of their boiling point, to have these devices to be able to bring them back down and ground them. And when that device is being taken away from them and they don't know why, they're going to try and take it back. And by him assaulting this teacher and battering this teacher, he was just trying to take back something that was his. Is it justified? No. But in his mind, he wasn't doing anything wrong. He didn't understand it. And for the sheriff's office to post that on social media and this child to be tried by a community that doesn't understand, I asked the sheriff's office to please shut off the comments so people cannot continue to attack this child that doesn't understand. And I asked the school board to please make changes so that these children are not being judged like this anymore. We need to make changes so that our mental health of our children does not continue to dwindle and hurt them and lead to suicide and death, because that's where it's continuing to go. We're going to continue to lose our kids.
I need to stop you,
And I'm
but I
sorry.
appreciate your comments. Thank you very
you.
much for coming.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. All right, it's my closing comments. We, as a board, have a very difficult position, which I think all of us are aware of, but we are involved in a public school. We are required to educate all children, all children. You know, and unfortunately, not everybody is your perfect little student. When you look at the private schools and all, what happens is behavioral kids come back to the public schools all the time, on a regular basis, all the time. And we have no choice but by law, but to educate them the best that we possibly can. That is the law. I am certain that that student didn't understand what he was doing. If that was his caretaker for 2 years, he liked that person, or he would have done that a long time ago. And it is unfortunate that it was so brutal that law enforcement had no choice but to step in, and when they step in, they have to do their job too. They're only doing what they're supposed to do. And it's a terrible situation. There are no winners here. It's horrible for our staff member to have to go through that. But as a public school, it is a responsibility we have no choice but to undertake. I hope that we can find some kind of moderation and mediation into the causes of this with the Department of Juvenile Justice and for this young man, because he doesn't belong to be in a cell. He belongs to be in a hospital getting assistance right now for his mental capacity and help, his position. With that, let me talk about something good, because it's been a little hard today, but we have a family that's in Palm Coast that's been on TV. I don't know if all of you've seen the parent test. I hope so, because the one family is from Flagler County. Out of the 12 parents that were selected, the Mills family. And I met them years ago when they are the Sunshine Mafia, and they were in my talent show for the youth center. And they're great people, great kids. Yeah, and they're on TV, and it's kind of nice to see. And their one son is a wrestler at Matanzas. He just went through surgery for athletics. Good people, and they're doing good things, and it's nice to have a positive note here. I wanted to congratulate Bella, she's not here, our other student liaison from Matanzas, because she's part of the Matanzas High School girls wrestling team that is on to districts. Didn't have girls wrestling when I was growing up. Do now, and they're doing very well at the Matanzas program. They're district champs. Last night, we celebrated Mardi Gras for the Ed Foundation to raise money for Take Stock in Children. It was a great event. The people that are involved organizing that through the Ed Foundation did a wonderful job, and they raised lots of money that's going to our kids in Flagler County. Can't complain about that. And finally, the only other comment that I have to make is about the virtual Teen Town Hall. Our two student liaisons actually host those meetings online. The next one's going to be on March 30th at 7:30 p.m. And it's called Power and Manipulation. Unfortunately, a lot of our kids get involved in bullying, which we've just explained. This also has to deal with human trafficking. You'll be surprised how many kids get human trafficked right here in Flagler County. There's a lot. There's a lot. Too many. This is paradise, but it has its problems just like every other community. And we need to work as a team together to make it happen and make it better. And I think that's what this board's committed to do through the school system. We'll try, we'll keep trying, and we'll leave, and they'll still be trying behind us. Doesn't mean we'll give up. So needless to say, that will conclude my comments for this evening. Superintendent Middlestat.
Yes, it's been a great, productive day. Thank you, board, for being active listeners as district staff presented information on how we're leading our school district. And the comments shared regarding the incident that we had within one of our schools, there's not a lot of good words you can put to that, but I ask that we all not rush to judgment. There is due process, and we'll honor how that unfolds itself. We open the meeting tonight with our spelling bee winner, and the word that he won with was stamina. And I think that's very important right now. We all resonate with that word and utilize that to provide some energy going forward. We've got a long stretch in front of us as we work into the last semester of the school year. So I'd like to just close with stamina. And thanks, Spencer, for spelling that correctly, because that's a fantastic word to end on. Thank you.
All right, with that, there are no additional business of the board. I am going to close this meeting and thank everybody for their participation. The meeting is now adjourned.